Hello, everybody. It's been a while, but we are back with the very latest episode of CADS. We're here to talk about Monaco, we're here to talk about Everton, and we're here to talk about anything else that comes up in the meantime. We still haven't talked to Kjetil about Buddha Glimt, so we're probably going to be doing that this evening as well. So I'm joined by some four lovely fellas this evening. We're going to start with A. How you doing tonight, eh?
Yeah, I'm good. So you always better when Spurs win, so I'm great. Yeah.
Ash, how are you tonight?
Changed the complexion on the day yesterday. Very nice. Because the baseball team had lost. Actually, my baseball team, Toronto Blue Jays, are in LA today. They're playing in my present hometown, LA.
Canadians on top.
Baseball World Series. They call it the World Series.
The World Series that only features two countries. So yeah, okay. Austen, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. I like that.
Although three of the Dodgers' best players are actually Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a little bit international. The players are.
That's what makes it a World Series. Two Japanese players. Right,
No,
okay.
no Welshman in Ash.
What's that?
No Welshman in.
No way. Hardly. Hardly.
No, they're playing a proper sport like rugby.
There you
Anyway.
go.
And Kjetil, we're joined, of course, by Kjetil, who hasn't been with us for a little while. In fact, it's been so long. We've got so much to talk about. So much. How you doing,
Welcome
Kjetil?
back.
Well, I'm fine, especially after yesterday, of course. I have to tell you, my wife is an Everton fan, so I actually had to keep my celebrations to a bare minimum yesterday, but I smiled very much inside. Yeah.
So for those of you watching on Bluetooth, that explains why he's wearing headphones, because he doesn't want his wife overhearing the power gloating talking about yesterday's result. Yeah. Whereas the rest of us can make as much noise as we like. Anyway, okay, so we're going to talk about Monaco and we're going to talk about Everton. Should we get started with Monaco? Because I'll be honest, that's where my frustrations lay. And they got a little bit better yesterday, but it's still not fully there. Still not 100%. First of all, did everybody watch the game?
No.
No.
I didn't see the Monaco game. I've seen the highlights, but I didn't see the game.
There were highlights. Jesus, how did they manage that?
Yeah, well, Vicario. There were highlights. Vicario's highlights.
Yeah. Man of the match, Vicario.
Yeah. Well, why don't you start off, since you were at the game, off from your perspective, and then I did see the game. I can respond to that.
Okay, so the game, you look at the teams, we were missing a couple of players. They were missing like 7 players from their starting lineup. I didn't realize this at the start. I didn't realize this at the time. I originally thought, oh, they're just missing Dyer and Pogba. But then somebody else came back to me and said, oh, no, they're missing 3 central defenders, 2 midfielders and a striker. Okay, so they've got a little bit more problems than we have. So, yeah, we're missing a few. But let's be honest, that team should have put Monaco away. Monaco are a side who have not had a great start to the season over here in France. They changed their manager about 10 days, 10 days before this game even took place. This was his second competitive match, and he actually managed to get them playing composed football with some actual thrust and danger. They were the danger side in that game. And I was in a mixed group area, okay, what they called a neutral zone. And there were Monaco fans and Spurs fans around us. And as the game started, the Spurs fans were quite loud. And as it went on, Monaco fans were like, well, we didn't think it was going to be this easy. Honestly, they were by far the better side and they should have won the game. If it hadn't been for Vicario pulling off several really quality stops, it would have been embarrassing. Truly, truly embarrassing. In fact, the only thing that could have been potentially more embarrassing is if we'd scored and won the game, which we could have done at the end, because it just would have been so undeserved. I came away from that going, this is a side that really doesn't seem to know what it's doing right now. You know, we talk about being defensively solid and organised. We were not in almost any way. They got through past our backline several times, And we seem to have no idea of how we were going to do that. Taking it back to when we played Buddha. When Buddha attacked, they attacked with 5, maybe 6 players. When we attacked, it was 3. When Monaco attacked, it was 4 or 5 players. When we attacked, it was 3. And the number of times, oh my word, the number of times that Vicario had the ball at his feet and you knew exactly where it was going to go. It was going to go straight to where Kudus was. Because there seemed to be no other plan. The plan was get it to Kudus and then make something happen. There was one point, after Kudus had gone off, the guy sitting next to me goes, he'll probably kick it out of touch now because that's where Kudus is sitting. And he was bloody right. It went out near the substitutes bench. It's like, what is going on? Honestly, it was a debacle of a match. There seemed to be no idea. There seemed to be no plan. And I came away from it feeling really dejected. We got a point, which you should be happy about in a Champions League away match. But honestly, it was so poor from Tottenham. And I am not Frank out. Let's get this straight from the start. I am not Frank out. I think he deserves probably a couple of years to try and get his team playing the way that he wants them playing. But it looks like, to me, it looks like we started the season really, really well. And as the season has gone on, we've progressively got worse. And one of the guys I was with was Alex, who's another CAD. He was there. He was there at the match with us, and in the car on the way back, he came with this very, very poignant statement. He said, "The longer it goes on, the further we get away from the light." And I was like, "Yeah, that sounds about right," because we were that poor. Like the start of the season, the light was shining bright. And it was great, and we were playing good football. We were actually attacking, and we were looking like a decent side. But as the season has gone on, we've strayed further and further away from that light, and we're not looking like a great team. So tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me where I'm wrong.
Well, first of all, I'll start off with your 7 players missing. Look how many players, don't discount how many players we have missing. 3 of our starting 4 from last season weren't playing today. Solanke, Decky, and Maddison. That's 3 of the 4 last season. We have
actually one more, Romero.
Let me finish.
Yeah.
Our captain and leader wasn't playing in that game. So we actually have key personnel missing to counterbalance what you said about Monaco. And yes, I agree with you. We didn't look great, but that's one of the first things I want to say about that. Yeah, we didn't look great, but Stu, to be honest, your comments after the game, I could sense your dejection from it, and there was a sense of, oh God, this is going to happen again. Levy won't be around to fire him. But I totally agree. We got to give him time. We got to give him time. We got to bite the bullet and give him time. That's all there is. That's my basic comment.
Yeah, we've dealt with those players being out since the start of the season. That's not new for us. So if you're talking new, Solanke, Kuti, Romero, Udogi are the new players who are out. You know, the rest we've had to deal with since the end of last season, effectively, because Matters wasn't available for the end of last season, and neither was Decky. So
Stuart, in fairness, the fact that they're out is they're out. It doesn't matter that they were out last season as well. They're out.
Yeah.
No, but what I'm saying is that Frank has built his team without having to consider them. And we've got good players. We've got good enough players to win that game. We had good enough players to win that game. We should have won that game. We had a significantly stronger side than they did.
Well, I have quite a different take, a little bit of different take on this one. I would actually argue that we haven't been good at all this season in the way that we really want us to be. When Stuart says we have been worse than when we started, I think we are just as bad as when we started. But meaning that we have never been really bad. Monaco was, of course, a low point, but most of the other games we have been slow, stodgy, passing not forward, but mostly back or to the right or to the left. There's a disjoint somewhere in the central of the park. There's too much room to cover for players not meant to cover those rooms. And again, we are going to talk more about this absolutely, but this double pivot in front of our defense with Palhinha and Bentancur, I'm not a fan, to be very frank about it.
Yeah, double pivot continues to be a bit of an issue, I feel, even against Everton, where we did look better. We had a little bit more thrust. We had a little bit, and we'll talk about this soon. But frankly, in the game against Monaco, you could have parked a double-decker bus between our midfield and our forward line. It was so bad. And then potentially even worse, for much of the game, our player who was the furthest forward was Bergvall, and then Richarlison would be deeper than him. You're like, that is not the way it should be. And it seemed like the only way we were going to make a chance was from a long throw. But we didn't seem to do anything from our long throws either. Danso, who, at some point somebody's going to start calling him D-Unit because he's so big and strong. He's there and he's pinging these long throws in, but they're not particularly good long throws. And then it gets knocked back out and it goes to him and he's in space. And suddenly he is the player we're relying on to create something. He's a very good central defender, but a creative player he is not. So, yeah, there was a lot of frustration that night.
Kjetil, can I just, since you made that observation that we've been kind of mediocre so far, how much do you think it's injuries and how much do you think it's Frank getting used to playing 2 games a week, which he hasn't done that before. I think it's probably a combination of things, and we do have to give him time. So what's your thought on that?
I think it's less about injuries. I think it's maybe also less about the double matches each week. I think it's got a lot to do with how Frank actually wants to do it. That means I think he might have wanted to come further in his development of this system, these players, and this way of thinking. But from we had with our dear beloved Ange, he built on the back of Mourinho, Nuno, Conte. He built a team that was exciting, but was building from all-out attack and then trying to mend some defenses. But now we're having managed that goes the other way around. He has started with the defensive positioning, the set pieces defending, and I would say a lower defensive line, maybe even a low block at sometimes. But what he does right is that you have to defend with intensity and with the right movements always. So he wants to start with that, and then he wants to build the defensive structure and then the attacking structure. And for us as fans, that might be a little bit frustrating, but I think so far everything points to him being able to get there. I think he's got the right plans. He got when we get couple of players back, I think we really miss Kulusevski. But I'm still confident. But we're absolutely not there yet. We have been defensively sound, but there's so much missing when we need to go on the attack creatively. Yeah.
Yeah. In terms of our defensive line, we actually played a really high defensive line against Aston Villa, like almost suicidally high. And was it against Everton yesterday? There was one point where we played a very high defensive line, and it was almost going back to that Chelsea game from 2023, where it was Vicario was the back line. That was our defense. So there were shades of that. It did worry me a little, but okay, let's move on from the Monaco game, unless somebody else has got something to say.
Well, A didn't get to say anything.
I didn't watch the Monaco. I haven't watched the Monaco game.
All right.
Yeah, I was away with no signal, but
Okay.
I can comment generally because I think I agree that it's not a one-off. I don't think it's player related. I think it's the way that he wants to play, and some tactical tweaks in the midfield. That's hampering our forward play. And I agree with you guys that it's because we're trying to do something defensively, and we're not getting it right all the time. So he's trying to give a defensive solidity first. But I don't think that the players fully understand or are executing the way he wants to. And he's chosen this path as a first pass, if you like, as a sacrifice of our forward play, and hopefully he wants to build up to it. But at the moment, there are times where we are neither defensively solid, and we don't also pose any attacking threat. So the balance is not there yet. It's early days, but I think we need some new ideas around how we set up.
Yeah. Talking of new ideas, the Everton game. So there was definitely a new idea in how we set up there. I mean, I've titled this, "They don't know what we're doing," because generally at the start of the game, I wasn't quite sure how we were going to line up. And then at one point, it looked like we were playing two up front with Johnson playing just off I nearly called him Kolo Muani. And I was like, how is this working? What are we doing here? And then suddenly we had two right wingers and people were moving around all over the place. And Xavi was in the 10. No, Xavi's over on the left. No, he's back in the 10. Oh, right. Now Kudus is in the 10. It was an interesting tactical setup. There seemed to be a lot of flexibility. There seemed to be a lot of interchanging. And for periods, it seemed to work. But again, our most dangerous thing seemed to be get it down the side and then try and get a corner, because then we scored from the corner. Our reliance on corners and set pieces is still a little bit of a worry, because we've got some big sides coming up in the next few games. We shouldn't be that susceptible.
Yeah, the Gunners rely on that too. They've got something like 9 goals from set pieces so far. So they're in first place.
And 5 more points than us.
Yeah, they're also a long way further down the road than we are in terms of their development under one manager. So
Absolutely.
Not so bothered about that. Somebody on social media earlier was saying, people talking about how they're going to be upset if Arsenal win the league. I've seen it many, many times before. I've kind of got used to it. I kind of get that, but at the same time, I've seen it many, many times. I still don't like it when it happens. And I'm not going to enjoy it this year if it happens, or this season if it happens. So let's see what happens. But
it's not bottling time yet, Stu.
It's not, is it? No.
No, they're usually the latter part of the season when they bottle it. So don't worry about it too much.
It's too early. But it's just who's going to step up.
Coming back to us, if you look at Brentford when Thomas Frank started, he started with a very defensive lineup and playing a long ball. And then eventually he evolved. And the last couple of seasons, they were playing some very progressive football, playing out from the back, using, is it Christian Norgard or is it Christian Damsgaard? I can't remember which it is.
Damsgaard. Norgard was the sitter and Damsgaard was the little knitter together.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they started playing much more progressive football. And I think what he's done with us, and you look at the number of clean sheets we've had, because I think Vicario's had 7 clean sheets this year.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. So I think he's concentrating on building from a platform. It's like building a house. You don't see anything until the foundations are in. And I think at the moment he's laying the foundations. And I mean, he is without creative players. I mean, a lot of the players they're missing are creative or hold-up players like Dom, who actually helped bring the midfielders into the game. So I think he's pretty hamstrung in terms of what we've got. But our defensive play is actually really quite good. And I thought Danzo yesterday was absolutely monstrous.
Dancer was
And in
excellent, but
fairness, so
I
was
again,
Van der Beek.
I would argue that it took an inspired goalkeeper to come away from that with a clean sheet. And we needed it against Monaco. We needed it against Everton. You know, Everton were dangerous at the start of the game and they had a chance or two at the end as well. So it was not as easy as some people are making out. You know, yes, we got a clean sheet, but it was tough.
I would
I would
argue
say
Vicario
that
is part of
Everton.
the 11 that was selected. That's his job.
I would say Everton also clearly struggle with their centre forwards. They have less options than us. So yeah, we must take that into account. But overall, I thought we defended pretty well. But saying that, Vic had to make some saves to keep us in it. So yeah, it's you're never gonna completely dominate in the Premier League, or it's gonna be quite rare. So I think everybody's got to do their job, and that's your keeper's job. Good stuff from him, and yeah, but that's his job. He's got to do that, right? And in the weeks gone by, we were bemoaning him not doing his job. So, so I guess it was a case of he should have saved that previously to now it's like he's keeping us in it. So I think we've got to choose a position.
I I will maintain he's an excellent goalkeeper, Vicario, and I don't think there are too many better in the Premier League. Jordan Henderson is a very good goalkeeper, and
Yes, he is.
you know he made a couple of decent saves as well. So there are a lot of good goalkeepers in the Premier League right now, a lot of good goalkeepers. So you know maybe he's one of a number, but I would put him up there in probably the top 5 goalkeepers in the league.
You know, couple of things just about the league. Apparently Frank was doing the Wednesday press conference today as opposed to tomorrow.
Yeah.
And he made a comment, which I sense as well, that this is the toughest he has seen the Premier League in terms of how competitive it is, that even he didn't say the lower teams, but the lower teams are beating the top teams. I think he's got a really valid point, because I've seen when people go, oh, why are we rolling? We're not nobody. You can't roll over against. Nobody's going to roll over in front of us. That's one. The second one, and this ties into what they talk about here in the NFL, the National Football League, is that there's a term called the copycat league, and for the first time I saw that yesterday, somebody mentioning that in reference to the set pieces and the use of long throws and set pieces, is that the top team in the league right now has the most goals, and the third place team has a bunch of goals, and a copycat league, meaning we're going to be seeing more of that going on. And then somebody joked and said somewhere Pulis, I forget his first name, the Welshman.
Tony
Pulis, yeah.
Tony Pulis is smiling because I think that was his MO. So 2 aspects about the league: more competitive, and we're going to see even more of set piece goals and attacks and attempts.
and
It's
therefore
definitely a
for
more
me this
competitive
is
league. Go on, Kjetil, go on.
yeah, and for me this is horrible. I really hate long throws. Always done it. It's the worst part of football for me. But because it slows down, takes its time, and the actually ball in comes with a height and slowness that any good defensive setup would head that way with no problem. So, but I I see Thomas Frank was doing some tweaks in the attack yesterday. Should we talk about that maybe? Uh, we have seen a couple of games where Xavi Simons has started, and it's been very isolated. And when he's isolated, he is physically not strong enough to not get bullied actually. So what was done yesterday was putting Kudus more centrally, putting Xavi out on the left, and as you said, they've been moving a little bit around, but I think Thomas Frank sees these things. He sees the same things as we do, but I think he wants to take his time in doing these changes, not revolutionizing, but evolution is his thing. I think, as someone mentioned here, he took his good time before developing that kind of play for Brentford also. And he will take time, and he will do this step by step, making sure that every player knows their role. What I saw yesterday also is that I think Brennan Johnson still has a role to play for Thomas Frank. I think his running is still very intelligent. He's not creative. He's not the best on the ball, but the way he runs and opens and gets on the ball is still good. So I think that's a player that Thomas Frank likes a lot.
Yeah, there were points yesterday where Brennan Johnson was playing almost like the old inside right position. He was just tucked in off off where the right winger would normally be. And I thought it was pretty interesting. He actually went past the player as well, which it's not something we always see from Brennan Johnson. And
he did that a couple of times. There was once he went through 3 players and won a corner.
He did.
Yeah.
And then we scored on that corner.
There we go, corner.
Ah, there you go. Yes.
The tactic is to get a corner every time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, but I thought Brennan Johnson was very good, but at the same time, it was in conjunction with Kudus.
He also spent a lot of time backing up Pedro Porro in marking
Grealish.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we,
right.
we need to talk about Pedro Porro. Pedro Porro is somewhat of a problem, I think. He's so good that we can't afford to rest him. And we certainly can't afford to at the moment because Destiny Doggie's out and Jed Spence having to play down the left. So unless we're going to play Archie Gray at left back, we kind of struggle to rest him. It's a bit of an issue because, again, he's playing every single game and he's got to be feeling it. I mean, he managed it so long last season. How long can he keep it up this time? But he was so good.
I wouldn't be in the least bit worried about Archie Gray playing a left back.
I agree.
Because he's played left back, right back, central midfield, defensive midfield, and attacking midfield. And he hasn't done a bad job in any position he's played. He is such a good player.
Yes, I agree. I actually can see him playing tomorrow, actually. Well, Wednesday at left back.
I'm not sure about against Newcastle. I'm pretty sure he'll be starting against Copenhagen because that's exactly the kind of game that he should be playing in. He'll have a little bit more time on the ball. He'll have a chance to play the way he does. He was actually one of the bright spots of the Monaco game. He was very, very good playing out of position. And yeah, every time he got on the ball, he looked like he had an idea of what he was doing, whereas some others did not. But let's move. So yeah, let's talk about the changes. What did we think of the attacking movement from the players yesterday?
There was one comment. Somebody said that he noticed that Johnson told Kudus, "Get out of my space." It was like we had 2 right wingers in the same space. I know they were trying to shift around, and Kudus did try and move inside, but I thought
Excuse me 1 second, chaps.
A very funny comment.
I'm in my conversation.
Yeah, and I think we shouldn't forget that we also have another left back in the squad. On Wednesday, I predict we'll see Ben Davies from the start in summer.
I'm sorry, we couldn't hear what Kjetil was saying because if you were speaking, Oz.
Austin was
okay.
Austin,
I was saying,
now, buddy.
I really think that we'll see a start from Ben Davies on Wednesday, in either moving him in as central left and then play Van der Ven on left back, or actually doing Ben Davies on left back, because they are going to need to rest some players on those positions. Yeah.
He's been injured.
Is he still injured? I read that he was back.
Well,
We
Oh,
don't know. They've not actually
okay.
given us any news on him. They're not talking
No
about
news.
him.
Oh,
You know, he's gone the way of Yves Bissouma. There's absolutely no news on his injury.
exactly.
Like Yves Bissouma has had a injured himself on international duty, come back, had an operation on his ankle, and there is nothing through Spurs media sources about it. They're not saying a word at all. And Ben Davies is saying, just silence. Nobody knows
Yeah.
anything.
So
Okay, I
yeah,
didn't know that.
while it would be a great thing, Kjetil, yeah, there, as Stu said, there is no word on him at all, and not much on Dragishin either, actually.
Dragishin, we know, is back training on grass.
Yeah.
We know
Yeah.
Kota Takai is training on grass. We know Kuti Romero and Solanke are training on grass. They're all building up their fitness, but Dragishin is a little bit further behind the others, I understand.
Yeah. So we do have, now you mentioned these players, I'd forgotten about the Japanese gentleman. He's out, Dragishin's out as well. So we really do have, somebody said 10 players out. I didn't know who all the 10 were, but anyway. So yeah, go ahead.
It's 10 out if you include Matisse Tel and Kota Takai, who were not registered for Europe. There were 10 players we were missing from Monaco.
No,
because
I
those
heard
two were
10,
not registered.
I heard 10 injured.
Yeah.
Not 10 out, 10 injured. And you're just mentioning Takai and Dragishin and Davis and Udagi and Kuti. So there's 5 or 6 right there.
I want to say something positive.
Yay!
Go on then.
Go on.
We should do that occasionally.
Bergvall came on yesterday, and he was involved in the third goal, and he did the most delightful. He cut the ball back with the outside of his right foot and beat a player, and then laid it out wide and forward to, I can't remember who it was to, but I just thought
Porro, was it Porro? Yeah.
it might have been Porro.
Yeah.
And I just thought that's what we've been missing all season, because the central midfields don't do anything about breaking the lines, and Bergvall did, and he does it better than anyone else in the team when he's on form. I know he's had a couple of games where he's been a bit iffy, but he's such a good player.
Yeah, we got to find a way to play him. But if he persists with this double pivot, it doesn't leave, and also with Xavi, it doesn't leave much space for Sarr, who scored, or Bergvall, does it? Unfortunately,
Bergvall was a player who I saw a lot of people complaining about him after the Monaco game, but frankly, I like that he tried to do things. I like that he kept his head up and he kept trying to do things. He didn't drop his head at any point. And he kept trying things. Yes, very little of it actually paid off, but he kept going. He kept trying to make something work. And for me, that comes down to chemistry and understanding of the players around you. And we've had a fair change around of, different players coming in with Palhinha and Xavi Simons, So as that builds, as time goes on, we're going to see more understanding, more chemistry between these players. And I think at that point, we'll see probably the best of players like Bergvall. But people keep talking about Thomas Frank. And the one thing I will continue to point to, Thomas Frank made very, very slow starts at his last 2 clubs. At Brøndby and Brentford. Is it Brøndby or Brøndby? I've heard Brøndby.
No, it's Brøndby.
Brøndby. I can't say it that way. I can say Brøndby. At Brøndby and Brentford, he had very, very slow starts. Now, if this is his slow start at Spurs, I'll take that every single day of the week.
Yeah, good point.
Because we're third. We're third, ladies and gentlemen.
And somehow unbeaten in the Champions League.
Yeah, just about, yeah.
I said somehow.
There were some tactical tweaks yesterday. You noticed that Bentancur was filling in at centre back when we were in position to move the ball forward. That's because Danso and Van de Ven are both a bit limited in passing. And I think he looked better trying to do it. I think when he is a little bit further forward into the midfield, it's a lot of backwards and sideways. But yesterday because it's been so much talked about, I was paying a little bit more attention to it. And I noticed something is you pass the ball forward and the ball gets pinged back to him immediately, like the bounce pass. But at that moment, everybody else has moved into a position where they're not available to get the ball. So it leaves you with almost no alternative but to look for the sideways or backwards pass. So I think there's a timing issue with our movement that's making him, and I think whoever plays in that position, do that sideways, backwards thing. I think when Sa and Bergvall come on, they invariably playing differently. They're not asked to do the same role. So sometimes we're not comparing apples with apples. That's my takeaway from it. And that's why I said earlier, I think it's a tactical issue or a gelling issue. And it's happened so often. He bounces the pass forward. It comes directly back to him, but the players that the movement is such that they just cannot receive the ball and you don't have the options. So I think that's something that will come over time. And then you'll see less backwards, sideways passes because you'll have more options. When there are options, sometimes he takes the wrong ones, but I think that's a bit of conditioning. So he's so used to it coming back to him with no options and being under pressure that he moves it quickly, that he's probably just doing it a little bit instinctively. So I feel that issue is more of a tactical issue and a gelling issue that will come right over time. So I'm not overly worried about that. I know there's a big hoo-ha about it, and a lot of people are focusing on that. But I did notice that a bit yesterday. I spent a little bit of time trying to see what was happening in that regard, and it was noticeable to me. I don't know if anybody else paid attention to it, and what's your thoughts on that?
He did seem
Yeah,
a
I
little
saw
bit
that we were.
a little bit
Go on,
more
Ash.
progressive in yesterday's game. I think he did one or two progressive moving up. I think A has a really good point there, but he did himself move the ball up himself, dribbled with it a couple of times. So good to see, because he's obviously got it in his locker. He's a talented, skillful guy, and he hasn't been doing it. So there's obviously a reason why, as A was saying.
As Kjetil was saying earlier, the start of the season, or certainly at times, many times during the season, we've been very slow moving the play out from the back. And it's been a little bit ponderous and slow. And it just gives the opportunity for the opposition to get settled in their shape. And then it's like, oh, try and break me down. It's very difficult to break down a settled defense. Very difficult. And I think even if we had our best players, you'd find it difficult to do that. That's why, the best teams break fairly quickly and have the ability to move the ball around quickly and create those spaces. And we haven't really done that at times this season. We looked better at it yesterday. We looked good at it against Burnley, but beyond that, it's not been so much.
And
Yeah,
I would like to.
That's what I was alluding to. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, you go ahead. It's fine.
Go on,
Yeah.
Kjetil.
What I wanted to say about that, why it looked better yesterday, is because of Kolo Muani, I think is what it was supposed to call him, Kolo Muani.
Kolo
His
Muani.
movements, he was also slow and didn't really know where to run in the beginning of the game, but as the game progressed, and especially in the second half, I think he started to find his pace, started to put his stamp on the game by holding off defenders and midfielders as ever he was, and his touches looking very deft and very good, as putting these balls down to the players close to him, where we have seen Richarlison and Tell not being able to handle the long balls in any way. And his movements looks like he's starting to come into asserting his place in a Premier League side. I think he's much more ready for it than, for example, Xavi Simons or Tell, or for that matter sake, Odebear. He looks like if he now gets injury free and gets into match shape, I think Kolo Muani will be a very, very good player for us. That's my prediction.
I think he looks quality. I think he's lacking in fitness. He's lacking in
Absolutely.
confidence as well, probably. But I thought yesterday a couple of times he looked really, really good.
Didn't he start in the last World Cup final? Or the last World Cup? I think he did.
Yeah, and missed a fairly decent chance as well. Yeah.
He's obviously a starter for France, so
people are still talking about that miss over here. I guarantee it. So yeah.
There we are. That's right.
The thing I do think Kolo Muani is very good. There's a touch of the Huskies about him. He's a big guy, and he carries himself with strength, and he just looks like he's a big, strong guy who carries himself well. When he came on against Aston Villa, the first thing he did was knock over one of their central defenders, which none of our players had done the entire match, just imposing himself physically. And I was like, oh, I like to see this. You know, I'm not a fan. I keep saying this. I'm not a fan of like the highly physical player or the dark arts. But when I see it from our players, I'm okay with it. I'm all right with it. It's we can. I don't like it when you do it against us. But when we do it to you, fuck you. That's often the way it is for me. But yeah. It's one of those things.
I thought he was a 21-year-old, but he's 26.
Yeah, he's had a couple of rough years since joining PSG. He's not had an easy time of it. So, but he went on loan to Juventus last season and had a goal assist every other game or something like that. So, you know, he had a decent return there. If we get that kind of thing, or even better, the Eintracht Frankfurt Randall Kolo Muani, it'll be even better. But plenty
Are we ever going to see Dominic Solanke back and contributing? And how much could he contribute to Thomas Frank's style?
I think he would make a big difference to this team as it stands at the moment, because unlike the other people that we've got up front, Tell or Richarlison, and I don't include Kolo Muani in that because we've only seen him a couple of times, but Solanke holds the ball up. And his pressing is absolutely fantastic. So I actually think he's one of the key pieces that's missing from the Frank system as things stand at the moment.
Good point. Thanks, Oz.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he fits in. There are two players I'm interested to see how they fit in. I think Kulusevski will fit in somewhere, somehow. You've got to make it work because he's just such a good player. But Dragusin, I'm interested in seeing how that works, because I think he'll probably do a lot better under a more defensively minded coach than the previous manager. I'm not going to say his name tonight. I'm not going to say his name tonight. And Solanke's the other one. I really want to see how Solanke fits in. I think Solanke's a really good quality player. He holds the ball up well. He brings others into play, and he's one of those guys who almost seems better when it's off the cuff in terms of the actual goal scoring. If he thinks about it too much, then it can go against him. But if it comes to him, the first time hits, he actually does a really good job. So I'd like to see how he's played and how he fits in. I think he could do very well with the kind of service that Kudus can give him. I'm on the same side. I really think it's time for Richarlison to leave. I love the guy. I think he's great. No, I do. I love the guy. I think he's great. But there are times where it looks like certain players need to move on, and he looks like he needs a fresh start somewhere. So,
or back to Everton.
Or back to Everton, yeah.
They need a striker, I've heard.
Yeah, well, they do love him. So he'd probably do okay with Jack Grealish.
He was applauded when he was doing his warm-ups yesterday. So.
Yeah. He's a lovely fellow by all accounts.
He's a lovely fellow.
You know, why not?
Yeah. And I have to say, the Everton crowd are fantastic. Then
yes,
they're not as bigoted as the Liverpool crowd, who seem to have this "we deserve everything" image. The Everton crowd, I thought, were excellent.
No, I don't like them. I find them quite annoying. They boo and every freaking thing. They crazy for nothing. Half the time I can't understand what they're upset about.
Oh, that's just the accent.
But
Don't worry about it. It's just the accent.
it's in the stadium. It's the thing in the stadium. It's like it was the same at Goodison. I think. Yeah. I don't know. To me they seem like. Yeah. I don't enjoy it. Yeah, I don't enjoy them at all. I like the club. A lot of similarities with us. But yeah, I find the atmosphere there a bit weird, if I'm honest.
I've got to pay a tribute to David Moyes before we finish, because David Moyes looked at the incident where their goal was disallowed, or their alleged goal was disallowed, and he said if it was against him, he'd have been really unhappy. And he didn't sort of argue that it should have stood. He was really, really fair. I think he's a good bloke.
It was him and Tarkovsky, is it? Tarkovsky.
Yeah.
He said the same thing in his post-match, yeah.
I didn't see that.
Both of them did, yeah.
Well,
That's
it sounds
good.
like Moyes and Frank get on very, very well. Though he said they'll be getting together for a beer after the match. So, it's one of those. It does seem like a relationship between two managers that actually get on quite well and understand each other.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of understandable. But yeah, I did think he was fairly open and honest on that one. I mean, it was a clear goal that needed to be disallowed. But there was some complaints about the third goal. I didn't really see the issue myself. The third goal looked absolutely fine to me.
That was the best goal of the game.
Having just complained about Richarlison, that was a fantastic header to exactly the right spot. So, I can complain about Richarlison, but I will also give him his flowers when he needs them and when it's due. And it's absolutely due on that one. He was brilliant.
But that third goal also showed how much we have to have Sarri that team more often now that he's back. He's such
the problem is where you fit these players in. We must have Bergvall in the side. We must have Sarri in the side. Who's going to get dropped? Where do you fit them in? It's really difficult.
I would have Archie Gray in the side as well.
There you go. See, so are we going to be playing 5 central midfielders?
And Lucas Williams-Barnett and Mikey Moore and oh god.
Well, not Mikey Moore until the end of the season because he's on loan at Rangers. But yeah, Luka Williams-Barnett, I want to see some more of. Certainly.
Didn't David Pleat play with 5 midfielders and Clive Allen? I think he played with 5 midfielders.
Something like that, yeah.
He did. Hoddle and Waddle and Allen and Hazard and somebody else.
By the way, when we were in Monaco, I was sat there with Marcel and a couple of other cats having a meal before the game. It's very polite in Monaco. It's very, very calm and very polite. They banned all beer, all alcohol was banned in the city of Monaco, in the Principality of Monaco before the game. You could not drink at all. So we had some 0 alcohol beers and we were sat there enjoying our pizza and beer. And a group of young men walked past and it was like, oh, the train's arrived. Look again, it's the Spurs youth team walking past. So, okay, why are they not on a bus? They're just walking down to the stadium, no problems. It's very strange.
They beat Monaco in their game, didn't they?
They did. Very nice result, yeah.
4-2,
Probably should have gone to that one. Probably should have gone to that one instead of the evening game. But yeah, I wasn't actually in Monaco when that game kicked off. I was still on the train on the way there. But no, Luka Williams-Barnett apparently had a very nice game again. So it was interesting to see he was on the bench, having played, earlier in the day.
Wow. I think you mentioned there were two guys, were there, who were also.
Yeah, Janai Byfield, I think, was also played.
What is he? He's a centre back or something. What is he?
Centre back, yeah. So yeah, very highly rated young centre back. I'm yet to see much of him myself. I've seen him warm up in league games, but yet to see him actually play much of a game. I think I've seen maybe 1 or 2 games on Spurs Play. He's actually played in. He's looked all right. Not really stood out a huge amount, but he's looked okay.
There are still players on the sidelines that I'd like to see playing for us. I mean, Lancashire, I'd like to see back at the club because I've just got a feeling that he might actually settle into the team and take off at some point in time in the next couple of years. And I also think, I've forgotten his name, he's a forward He reminds me of Marcus Rashford, but he finishes
Oh,
better.
Scarlett.
Dane Scarlett.
He was on the bench.
I think he stands a chance of making it as well.
He's on the bench. He's been on the bench quite a few times this season.
Still very young, 21. Still
Yeah.
very young. A long time ahead of him.
I gotta disagree. Yeah, seriously. I think we all want to see homegrown players there, but I think Scarlett is at best a championship level player. I think there's hope for Lancashire, but personally, I could see Lancashire playing in the lower Premier League. I think the guy that we've got on loan is it at Notts County, Ty something,
Ty
the
Hall.
one that Ange, yeah, Ty Hall, the one that Ange messed around with, had a personal problem with and cut him out of the team, set him back a bit. But I think he's the one to watch. He's carrying Notts County on his own at 19 or 18 years old, whatever it is. And he's doing really well. I think that's the guy that's really highly rated. And of course, Barnett. Byfield, they like Byfield because he's a very good ball-playing centre-back. He passes off both feet very well. And that's why he's in the team around the squad, I think, because we don't have that options on our centre backs too much outside of Romero.
He's quick as well.
Yeah, but he's quick, and he's very fast. Yeah. So I think that's where our hope is. I think it's folly putting our hope in Scarlett and the likes coming through. Sorry to disagree with you, Oz, but as much as we'd like to see them,
your photographs are better than mine, but my comments are better than yours.
But yeah, I don't see much from him. Yeah, I think even when the youth team players were playing on, like in last season in the Europa League, he was the least impressive. So yeah, I'm not sure about him, but I do like Luka Williams-Barnett and Byfield, and I like Tyler Hall a lot. So there's hope for those guys, and hopefully Mikey Moore comes back a better player because he seems to have everything to make it. Just needs the experience.
We've also got Phillips to come back from Stoke, and he's playing really well at Stoke.
We've got Vuskovic to come back.
And Vuskovic, yes.
Yeah. And this Korean guy also stirring things up.
Yeah.
No, the Korean guy. I was going to say the same thing. At QPR, he looks really promising.
Portsmouth.
He was the keeper last
season.
Yeah, he looks wow. He looks like really promising. That is a player which we should keep an eye on. And yes, Vuskovic. I think they'll sell Phillips at the end of the season.
Yeah.
I don't think he's made the step that they thought he might be, where they took the chance on him. I think he's going to be a bit like the guy that we rode on at Leeds. He'll be a similar stature, but he won't. Yeah. Roden, yeah, he might not be top level, and that's why they're holding out a little bit on him. Yeah, that's just my take on our youngsters, I guess.
Well, he's not been a first-team choice at Stoke every single week. He played the last couple of games, I think, but before that, he's been sat on the subs bench and coming on for a few minutes here and there. Same as Jamie Donnelly. Jamie Donnelly's not getting enough time on loan, but you got to earn your minutes, boys. You got to make sure that you're doing it in training enough to ensure that the manager plays you. At the moment, it just doesn't seem to be happening for them at Stoke, but it doesn't help they've had to change managers.
Yeah, that's a bad loan for Donnelly. I think his passing range is so good that it would actually benefit our first team if he could make a slight step up in the other facets of his game. I like him. Really, really creative passer. And if you ask a lot of us, what are we missing from our team? We say creative passes.
Well, he played left back under Ange a couple of times, didn't he? I think in the pre-seasons last year.
In pre-season, yeah. I don't think that was ever going to be his long-term position. The thing about Jamie Donnelly that I see is I can see Luka Williams-Barnett getting in his way because they kind of play the same position, left side, central, but also able to move over to the left. Creative players got an eye for goal or a good pass decent on the ball, but genuinely, I think Luka Williams-Barnett is better. And I think Luka Williams-Barnett could well be a regular in our first team. Maybe not a starter, but a regular in our first team at the end of the season. Whereas Donley is a little bit off that.
I'm going to
Yeah, I
disagree
think
with you
you
slightly,
want
Stu,
that.
because I think Donley has got a really good eye for a pass. I mean, he hits the ball spontaneously a long way, and it's really accurate. I think he's an intelligent footballer, and I suspect he could stay with the club and be very successful.
I think we'll see players stay with us because we need players who are homegrown at club. The way we're going, I genuinely think we're going to be competing in Europe again next season. So that's top 7 and above. But to do that, we need to have players who are trained at the club. And I think certain players will probably stay longer at the club than they should have because of that. Maybe Dane Scarlett would be better off going and developing somewhere else, but he's going to stay at the club because he's homegrown at club. Maybe
I think our
Donley's the same,
homegrown
in the same
problems
boat.
go away next season because you get Bergvall, and Gray
Yeah.
and Sa. They start counting as homegrown, or they
Saar doesn't.
yeah.
Saar won't. Saar
Oh,
won't.
not Sa,
But Gray and
but the
Bergvall,
other two do.
Great,
yeah.
great.
Gray and Bergvall will. And then in the future, we're going to have Mason Melia is going to count as homegrown at club because he joins us in January,
Oh, God,
having
I've forgotten
just turned
about
18.
him.
Yeah. And then, there's obviously a few other players coming in. Unless Vuskovic stays out on loan for the next 2 years, Luka Vuskovic will also be homegrown at club one day. Obviously, we're not going to be able to do it until he turns 21, but he will when he turns 21. But it sounds like he's ripping it up in Germany. He got the Rookie of the Month award for September. He's had some really good reports this month, including his last game where apparently started a little bit wobbly, but then got significantly better. And I think he set a record for the number of headed clearances in a single match. Like in the top 5 leagues in Europe. It's like, that's nuts. He's 18.
Well, what's
Yeah,
his
he's got a good head on his shoulders. He
Go on.
seems
Somebody
to
had to say
really
it.
enthuse. So
Go
yeah,
on, Ash.
No, Danso apparently, speaking of numbers, had something like 18 clearances yesterday.
It was
which is
18.
apparently,
Vuskovic got 22.
well, there you go.
Oh yeah. Somebody else said Xavi Simons looked a little bit lightweight. He won more duels in the first half than any other player in the pitch against Aston Villa.
Yeah,
Not that
really?
lightweight. Yeah. He's only a little bit shorter than Brennan Johnson. We discussed this last time. You missed that.
Yeah,
Austin.
but I think about Xavi, I think it's not lightweight. We have had players small in frame that's been very good and done well in Premier League before, but because he's been so isolated
Yeah.
On the pitch, there's so much. The other players are so far away from him when he gets the ball that he has to wait and wait and wait, and then he'll get one or two huge players or whoever players that come to bully him. And when he's not in his top match form, he's obviously not just jump like we saw in his previous club. He could control the ball and just jump away from players sometimes. He's not done that yet, so
It reminds
he
me
might
of
come
an
good.
early
I
Modric.
think I think it's good. Yeah, he's kind of a cross between Modric and a little bit Eriksen, I think. But he's got a long way to go to be in top form, right?
Yeah.
So we haven't seen what he actually can do yet.
Yeah, for me, it's still a case of you need to have the right players around him to make the most of it. I think you isolate him by playing a double pivot of Bentancur and Palhinha. Certainly when he's playing number 10, and then if you don't have a superstar left winger outside of him, you're reducing the choices and options he's got. And also he's looked better when Udogie has been on the pitch because he gives him a passing option, whereas Jed Spence tends to actually come into his space a little bit and cramp his options just a little bit more. So I think when Udogie comes back in, we'll start to see the best of him. But it's still very early days in his career. But hey, there we go. All right, gents. I think we'll call it a day. We're not going to be talking. We're not going to be back on Thursday. We're not going to be talking about the Newcastle game, but we'll include that on Sunday because we'll be back Sunday, 2nd of November. We will be joining up together and having a nice little chat, and we'll be talking about that Newcastle game and also talking about the Chelsea game because nothing ever happens when we play Chelsea, so it should be fairly easy and nothing to talk about. Yeah, we'll see how that works. Kjetil, I happen to know that you think quite highly of our ending music. You like it, right?
It was. I heard it for the first time a couple of weeks ago, and I think, wow, you did got a football tune. That's actually cool. Yeah,
it's actually pretty good.
So
there you go. Yeah. If you like it, everybody, let us know in the comments below what you thought of it. And if you don't like it, okay, fine. Nobody asked you anyway. All right, everybody. We'll see you soon.
Okay, guys.
Until next time.
Bye.
Come on, you
Bye,
Spurs.
guys.
Come on, you Spurs.
Gather round, lads, it's time for a cheer. We've got opinions to share, raise your part, never fear. From the stands to the pub, we're ready to spit. In the world of football, it's the CADS chat shit. Oh, he was in form just last week, but now he's a flop, so unique. Spurs gonna win it, that's what we decree. Never mind facts, it's our fantasy. Our strikers are legends, we'll score a whole bunch. Forget all the stats, we'll just take the punch. With every wild take, we raise up our glass, while pundits just chuckle, ignore them alas. The CADS chat shit. To the left and the right, we're taking a hit, so you know it's true. Hear the banter ignite, raise your voice loud, shout it out tonight. The CADS chat shit, we'll sing it again with a smile and a grin. Oh, here's to the boys, let's make it a trend. With a wink and a nudge, let the fun never end. Last week we claimed it'll be 5-0 for sure. Now we're debating if we'll score at the door. Did you see that last miss? What a fiery debate as we pull up our chairs and we narrow our fates. Hot takes flying high, we're the kings of the pub, while the lads on the pitch just need a good rub. From the top of the table or right back to the ground, you'll hear us all chatting that familiar sound. The CADS chat shit. To the left and the right, we're taking a hit, so you know it's true. Hear the banter ignite, raise your voice loud, shout it out tonight. The CADS chat shit, we'll sing it again with a smile and a grin. Oh, here's to the boys, let's make it a trend. With a wink and a nudge, let the fun never end.